Tonight, we journey to a place that exists in the twilight between history and myth, a civilization that haunts our collective memory. This is the story of Atlantis, an island empire that vanished beneath the waves. The tale begins not with an archaeologist's discovery, but with the words of the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, written down over 2,000 years ago in his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. Plato tells us this story was not his own invention, but a tale passed down through generations. He claims it was first brought to Greece by the wise Athenian statesman Solon, who had traveled to Egypt. There, in the ancient city of Sais, the priests shared with him their sacred records, stories of a time long past. They spoke of a mighty power that had emerged from the Atlantic Ocean, an island nation larger than Libya and Asia combined. This was the island of Atlantis. Its story begins at the dawn of time when the gods divided the world amongst themselves. The island of Atlantis was given to Poseidon, the god of the sea. On this island lived a mortal woman named Cleito, with whom Poseidon fell in love. To protect her, he sculpted the very land, breaking it into concentric rings of land and water that encircled the central hill where she lived. He brought forth 2 springs of water from the earth, one hot and one cold, ensuring his beloved and her descendants would never lack for water. Here, in this divinely crafted sanctuary, the Atlantean civilization was born. Cleito bore Poseidon 5 pairs of male twins. The eldest, Atlas, was made king of the entire island, and in his honor, the surrounding ocean was named the Atlantic. His 9 brothers were made princes, and each was given a vast portion of the land to rule. For many generations, they and their descendants governed Atlantis in peace and prosperity. The city of Atlantis, as described by Plato, was a marvel of engineering and natural beauty. The island itself consisted of mountains to the north and a great oblong plain to the south. The capital city, Metropolis, was a wonder to behold. Canals were dug to connect the sea to the outermost ring of water, creating a grand harbor large enough for the greatest ships. Channels were cut through the rings of land, allowing triremes to pass from one watery ring to the next, traveling under stone bridges. The city was rich with natural resources. The soil was fertile, and there was an abundance of timber. They had access to a mysterious metal they called orichalcum, which was said to have a fiery red glow, and was considered second only to gold in value. At the very center of the city, on the original hill of Cleito, stood the royal palace and a sacred temple dedicated to Poseidon and Cleito. This innermost sanctuary was encircled by a golden wall. Each succeeding king added to the splendor of the palace, each trying to outdo the last. The city boasted extravagant architecture, with baths, gymnasia, and gardens. The Atlanteans were not just builders, they were a prosperous and powerful people, their wealth likely stemming from a vast maritime trade. The 10 kings of Atlantis formed a confederation, ruling not just their island, but other islands and parts of the continents of Africa and Europe. Their rule was guided by laws set down by Poseidon himself, which were inscribed on a pillar of orichalcum in the central temple. The kings would meet regularly to pass judgment and honor their divine ancestor. Their rituals involved the sacrifice of a bull and a pledge of obedience to Poseidon's laws. For many generations, they lived as a virtuous and noble society, their divine nature holding strong. But as time wore on, a change began to stir within the hearts of the Atlanteans. Their divine nature weakened as it was diluted by mortal blood. Greed and ambition began to replace their once noble virtues. They became a powerful and warlike nation, seeking to expand their empire. They launched an unprovoked war, sending their armies and navies to conquer the lands of Europe and Asia. Plato presents this as a cautionary tale, a tale of a great civilization that became arrogant and lost its way. The once virtuous Atlanteans were now an imperialist power, seeking to enslave those who were still free. It was a prehistoric Athens, an ideal version of Plato's own city, that stood against the might of the Atlantean Empire. Though much smaller, this ancient Athens was portrayed as a just and courageous state. When all other allies deserted them, the Athenians fought on alone. Against all odds, they triumphed over the Atlantean forces, halting their invasion and freeing the lands that had been conquered. But the final judgment upon Atlantis would not come from mortal hands. The gods, who had once favored this great civilization, now looked upon their arrogance and impiety with displeasure. According to Plato, Zeus and the other gods decided to punish the Atlanteans for their hubris and for failing to carry their prosperity with moderation. The end came with a terrifying swiftness. In a single, dreadful day and night, violent earthquakes and floods of extraordinary violence shook the island. The earth opened up and swallowed the brave Athenian warriors, and the island of Atlantis itself was swallowed by the sea and vanished. It sank beneath the waves, becoming an impassable shoal of mud that, for a time, prevented travel in that part of the ocean. And so, the mighty civilization that had once held dominion over a vast empire disappeared without a trace. The story ends there, a stark and sudden conclusion to a tale of immense power and a catastrophic fall. For centuries, this story has captivated the human imagination. Many have wondered if Atlantis was a real place. It is widely believed by scholars today that Plato created the story of Atlantis as a parable, a fictional tale to illustrate his philosophical ideas about the ideal state and the dangers of corruption and hubris. The story of a small, virtuous Athens defeating a large, aggressive Atlantis served as a powerful allegory for his contemporaries. Yet the idea of a real historical basis for the legend persists. Some have speculated that Plato might have been inspired by real events, such as the massive volcanic eruption on the island of Thera, now known as Santorini, around 1600 BC. This eruption was a cataclysmic event that destroyed the flourishing Minoan civilization on the nearby island of Crete. The tsunami generated by the eruption could have easily been seen as a civilization sinking beneath the waves. Others have searched for Atlantis in different parts of the world, from the coasts of Spain to the depths of the Atlantic, where Plato originally placed it, beyond the Pillars of Hercules. But no definitive evidence of a sunken continent or a lost city of such magnificent proportions has ever been found. Whether Atlantis was a real place, a faded memory of a past civilization, or a purely philosophical invention, its story continues to resonate. It is a tale of a paradise lost, a reminder of the fragility of even the most advanced civilizations. It speaks to a deep human longing for a past that was grander, more wondrous, and more mysterious.